Hi everyone, it's Miss Jones and welcome to our art lesson. The month of May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And for this project, I wanted to honor the art and experience of contemporary Asian American artist Chanel Miller. Miller became infamous for pain and suffering she endured as a young woman, but has come to use art as a tool for healing from her trauma. Her work focuses on reflection and the transformation of oneself. Themes within her work include perseverance, courage, empathy, personal power, and love. Our project today is taking inspiration from Miller's mural titled "I Was, I Am, I Will Be," which is currently on display at the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. So for our project today, you're going to need a piece of white paper. You're also going to need a pencil for sketching. If you'd like to have a black marker to trace over your work, you can also do that. Our work today is going to be a little bit minimal, but it kind of just depends on your style, your own personal style. But I like to use my marker for kind of big, bold lines and words. And then you're gonna need something to color with. So crayons, colored pencils, markers. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can always just add a little bit of color. We just looked at some of Miller's work, and a lot of her work is very plain with lots of just black lines and white paper and then maybe a little bit of color here or there. So you can either take inspiration from her usage of color, or if you want to color the entire thing, that's totally up to you. All right, so for our project, our first step is going to be dividing our paper into 3 sections. So you can either do this with your pencil and you can kind of draw out 3 separate sections, or if you'd like, you can fold your paper, which is what I'm gonna do. So have your paper landscape way, long way here. And how I like to fold my piece into thirds is I kind of take the edges and I kind of fold them one on top of each other, kind of like this. So I like to try and kind of like curl my paper in, so it's kind of like a hole like this. So this edge is folded under. And then I kind of make sure my sides are kind of lined up. So I kind of make my circle, I kind of squash it down a little bit and try and make it as close as you can. It doesn't need to be perfect. But there we go. So I kind of had my O, and then I just kind of closed it and then creased it. So I kind of took my edges, rolled them into each other, and then kind of flattened out my roll there. So now I can open my piece, and I've got 3 sections. Like I said, if you're like, oh, I don't want to do the folding part, you don't need to do that. You can always just divide it with your pencil. So for our second step, like I mentioned, we are taking inspiration from Miller's piece, "I Was, I Am, I Will Be." And I love this piece because it's very open-ended. She says she leaves it open-ended so that the viewer can kind of fill in their own experience. But she shows each part in kind of a distinct way, and we'll talk about that as we go through it. But what we're going to do next is we are going to write the words "I was, I am, and I will be" on our piece of paper. So kind of like big headings to each of our sections. So we've got 3 kind of distinct phrases that we're going to put on our piece here. So grab your pen or your pencil, and we're gonna start with our left side here because we usually read left to right. And we're going to write "I was." Was, W-A-S. I was. So this is in the past. Now in the middle, we're going to write "I am." I-A-M. This is the present. And then finally, in our last column, we're going to write I will be. I will, W, I, L, L, B, B, E. So now we have our three sections. I was, I am, I will be. We have our past, our present, and our future. So we're going to be drawing a character here. This character can either represent you, it can represent someone else, it can just be a fun, silly character, however kind of you feel or what you want to create. But we're going to kind of create our character in these three stages. I was, I am, I will be. So it will have these three stages. If we look at Miller's work, she goes from transforming her character from something that is negative and upset, we can see that they are kind of crying, to being at peace, and then to moving forward, which I really love. So she's got this character who was stationary and kind of curled up, right? And then it moves into more of a peaceful state, and then finally moves on to and starts to kind of exit the page. So this really shows transformation from one state, emotional state, to another. And this is what we're kind of going to be drawing today. And you can think of kind of your own interpretation of past, present, and future, but I'll kind of give you a little bit of a guide and give you some suggestions for maybe what you can do for each section. So before we start drawing our character, we want to understand our character. Who was our character? Let's start in the past. And where do we want to get them to be? Right? Where do we want them to be? So our character, usually if you start in the past, we're thinking of transforming, which means changing from one thing to another. And usually these are almost opposites. So let's think. So let's think of something, maybe that's not exactly positive, but maybe something that like a feeling that doesn't usually feel good. So think of a time when you weren't feeling very well. Think about how you were feeling. When I fell off my bike, let's just think of a time. When I fell off my bike, how did I feel? I was sad. I was hurt. I was scared. I was frustrated. Think of how you would feel if you had fallen off a bike. You would feel maybe sad. So think of one of those terms, and we can use that as our I was section. So let's think, maybe if I fell off my bike, I was afraid. So at the bottom here, I'm going to write afraid. A F R A I D. So I was afraid. Maybe I was afraid of getting back up on my bike again. And you don't have to use maybe bike riding as your experience, but think about something where you started at one point and then were able to get to something else. So I was afraid. So now I want to move to I am. Let's think of something positive. So we were afraid, yes, but what else are we? We are not only our negatives, we are also our positives. So I was afraid of getting on my bike, but in order to conquer that fear, I had to be brave. So I am going to tell myself, if I want to get up on that bike, that I am brave. Right? We have to tell ourselves, hey, you can do this. And that even though you might be scared, you are brave. So I was afraid, but I am brave. I'm using brave as my second word. B-R-A-V-E. I am brave. And in my third piece here, I think about my goal. So if my goal maybe is to ride my bike, I can think about a positive of how that might feel. Maybe my goal is to be happy. My goal is to be free. My goal might be to be joyful. These are all positive things that I am hoping in the future by conquering my fear. So I'm transforming from conquering my fear, showing my bravery to experience something positive. And I'm going to say, maybe I might not get it right away. Maybe I might not ride my bike perfectly right away, but I'm going to say that I'm going to be strong. S-T-R-O-N-G. So I am using this project today to communicate transforming from being afraid in the past to having bravery in who I am and to being strong in future events when I face something scary. So now that we have figured out kind of our words and come up with our sentences here, now we get to do the fun part, which is going to be drawing. So when we look at Miller's picture, she has this character who kind of changes positions throughout her piece. So I was afraid. I'm going to draw my character being afraid. And remember how I said your character can be anything. It could be a person, it could be a bear, it could be a blob, whatever. It doesn't necessarily matter. It's up to you how you want to express this and how you want to show your character becoming something new by the end panel. So I kind of liked Miller's kind of blobby person. I thought that was great. So I'm going to practice having my person. I liked the kind of sitting. So maybe I'll have my person kind of a blobby person. So I have my person and I drew them kind of like how I might be when I'm scared. And I'm gonna put a face that makes my character maybe look afraid. Maybe I'll add some ears on my character too. So there's my character kind of looking afraid. Maybe I'll do some tears maybe, kind of scared. I could do something like a little cloud. To show maybe that my person is not feeling too good. Feeling afraid, showing my emotion of being afraid. But how would I show bravery? Maybe I want to show my character being brave. Maybe like getting up or standing up or some way of showing more strength. All right, so hopefully you can see my picture, but I tried drawing my character in kind of 3 states, sort of like Miller's work. I really took inspiration from her. So I tried showing my character being afraid, having a negative feeling. So I did them kind of small, because when we are scared or upset, we feel so small. And then I added clouds to kind of add with my character's anxiety or kind of brain fog. And then I went to brave, so I tried drawing my person a little bit bigger. I tried drawing them maybe feeling calmer, feeling maybe at peace with themselves, and kind of tried doing like clouds with the sun. And then I came to will be strong, so I tried to make my person as big as possible to represent that strength and just that excitement. I had them looking forward as if that they are excited for the future and thinking about kind of the next steps and who they want to be. And then I added a sun to kind of bring out that sunshininess. So once you have kind of your drawing, you can add some color. So I'm gonna go in and pen my drawing just so it's nice and bold. And then I might add a little bit of color, to my character to kind of give them that extra kind of personality. All right, there we go. I added a little bit of detail to my person, or my character, I guess. Also, don't be afraid to use this project to think about a certain event. I talked a little bit about bike riding, and maybe you want to show that progression. I was maybe scared, or I was unsure. I am, brave. I am determined, and I will be a great bike rider. It could be something like that as well. I tried using more emotions, but you are free to come up with your own interpretation and really think about yourself. What is something about yourself that you've experienced, and how do you want to handle those situations for the future, right? So I'm going to add a little bit of color to my character, just like maybe a touch here or there. Feel free to add background to your character as well. That might also be kind of fun, and I'll show you when it's all done. All right, so I finished my art piece here, my I was, I am, I will be art piece based off of Chanel Miller's work. I really like this. I like this project. I hope you did too. We were reflecting on our experiences and how we can go from something maybe negative or something that we want to change to ourselves, to acknowledging the positives within ourselves, so that we may go forward in the future and become what we want to become. So I hope you liked this project. I hope you liked creating your own character and using them to create this narrative. And thank you so much, everyone. Happy Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I will see you next time for our next project. Thanks, everyone. Bye.